Duelists, we're on the same shit, different day. It's Tri-Brigade, but this time we've got Branded. But first, this video is sponsored by no one. So if you like the video, you want to see more like it, hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that ghost bell and Haunted Mansion down below to get notified whenever a new video is up. Now, let's get after it with... That's right. Think back to a few months ago. Tri-Brigade Lyrilisc, dominant meta-warping Master Duel force. Well, it's back. And not quite as dominant as before, but still certainly a potent deck. Let's talk about Tri-Brigade real quick. If you have been playing Master Duel since this spring or so, you know roughly what this deck does, right? We are playing things like Fractal, limited to 2 because too powerful, Karos, Nerval, and Kit. Now, most of these, when sent to the grave, will trigger sending another Tri-Brigade to the grave. Nerval allows us to add a Wing Beast, Beast, or Beast Warrior from the deck to the hand. Karos will allow us to special summon, and they each have the effect on field where they can banish any number of Beast, Beast Warrior, or Wing Beast monsters from your grave, and special summon a Link monster whose Link rating equals that number. So we can go into things like Farragut, which allows us to additionally special summon and also draw cards, Bearbrum, which allows us to add things like Tri-Brigade Revolt, and of course the almighty Shiraig, which allows us to non-targeting banish, probably the most premier form of removal in the game. Tri-Brigade, that has not changed that much, right? And of course we're supporting it with things like Fire Formation Tenki and DD Crow, just a very good hand trap in general, and especially in this format now that we're adding things like Branded. So in this deck, we are incorporating the Branded engine here. We got Branded Fusion, we've got the Fallen of Albaz, as well as a single Albion the Shrouded Dragon to go into such powerhouses as, of course, Mirror Jade, allowing us to banish and also wipe the field when it's removed. We've got Lubellion, allows us to get an additional fusion summon when it's summoned. Albion does the same thing, and also when it's sent to the grave, allows us to set a Branded card. And then one of the few decks that gets to make use of Brigrand, the Glory Dragon, which is kind of like the, in lore, this is the Tri-Brigade dragon. It just has some protection and also can punch really hard and then special summon Tri-Brigades when it is sent to the grave. So that's pretty much it. The final piece of tech that we have here is the Tri-Brigade Mercurier. Allows us to discard it and negate something when we control a fusion monster that mentions Fallen of Albaz, hence these 4 down here, as well as when it's banished, you can add a Fallen of Albaz or a monster that mentions it from deck to hand. So that's going to allow us to get our Fallen of Albaz so we can continue our fusion plays. Just a nice little addition to the Tri-Brigade thing, and of course we can search this off something like a Nerval. Other than that, pretty much just a bunch of hand traps and utility. The extra deck is fairly the same. Obviously, we're adding our 4 fusion monsters, as well as a new pickup from the Newborn Dragon selection pack, Dark the Dark Charmer. This is a great way to just steal potentially opposing Branded monsters. As we can see, a majority of these are going to be dark monsters. So, without further ado, let's get into the games. All right, let's get right into it. Now, this unfortunately is one of the rare bricky hands in this deck, right? We got 3 hand traps, very nice. Love to see all 3 of those, but without any Tri-Brigades in the grave, Karos doesn't do anything, and Fallen of Albaz, which can fusion summon on summon, requires our opponent to have monsters because we need to use those as part of the fusion summon. So we actually can't do anything. We are going to set the impermanence and hope for the best when it comes to our opponent. Our opponent leads with the Manju, so some sort of ritual deck. I'm just going to negate that search right here with the Ash. Generally, this is pretty contingent. If they had a ritual spell or a ritual monster, they would have just fired it immediately. We'll take the 1400, but it looks like that's going to end our opponent's turn effectively. So let's see if we can draw something off the top to get our plays started here. Okay, Branded Sword. Well, at least we have the Fallen of Albaz, and we can use that Manju as part of it. We're going to have to pitch the Branded Sword, which does have an engrave effect. We can go into Albion the Branded Dragon, which is going to allow us to immediately fusion summon again, banishing the Albaz and the Albion. Let's go into Mirror Jade, probably the most powerful of all the Branded fusion options. Now we can banish that Branded Sword, adding our Albion back to deck, so that we can send it with our Mirror Jade. Mirror Jade, of course, sends a level 8 or higher fusion monster from an extra deck to the grave and allows us to banish something, which of course can trigger Albion, because Albion, if sent to the grave, can allow us to set a branded spell or add it to our hand. And there we are. We are going to banish their set Ash. Our opponent apparently on hard times in terms of what they're able to do, but we have a branded fusion in hand now. Let's just ride with that branded fusion, see what we can do. We're going to send a couple from the deck, get the Lubellion. Lubellion will trigger, and we can get that second fusion summon now, allowing us to shuffle back in the Banished and in the Grave. Now we're going to go for Brigand. There's Brigand. Tri-Brigade Kit is going to trigger because we sent it, so we're going to send a Nerval. Nerval will now add. I'm actually going to add the Tri-Brigade Mercurier just in case. You never know. Our opponent might have something, but we have more than enough damage to send them to the Shadow Realm. All right, now this hand is looking much more effective. We can activate Fractale, send him to the grave, and also send a Kit. Kit will trigger. Kit sending Nerval, Nerval adding Karos. These are standard Tri-Brigade lines. We're going to normal summon the Kit, and then banish 2 and get ourselves out the Farragut. Now, normally we're going to go Farragut. Farragut will allow us to special summon. We'll go into Bear Brum. This is going to trigger the Farragut, allowing us to draw a card. Now, we don't need that Ash, so we're just going to put that right back. And then we can go into Rugal, which will allow us to trigger the Bear Brum and add the Revolt. The Revolt will allow us to special summon a number of Tri-Brigades from our grave and or banished, and then immediately link summon, doing this on our opponent's turn. So we'll set that in the called by, and our opponent will go Dark Hole. Okay, so opponent doing Synchron things. They went for the Quick Draw into the Warrior into the Jet Synchron. I'm going to stop that Jet Synchron from coming back and hopefully, you know, just completely kneecap any sort of Synchros that they might be hoping to make. Boom, get that Jet Synchron out of here. Opponent will set one, and then I'm going to go for the Revolt and bring back the whole team, including the Bear Brum. And then we're going to go into, you know it, the daddy of the Tri-Brigade, Shiraig, non-targeting, banish, as well as triggering, of course, a bunch of our monsters that were sent back to the grave. So Kit's going to trigger to send. Nerval will trigger to add one from the grave. And our opponent does not want to play anymore. They don't want to do this thing anymore. All right. Pretty good hand. Oh! A fellow branded enthusiast, but they're on the pure version, the Despia version, I should say. So, why are these cards, why do they not have color? Do you guys notice this? Anyway, our opponent is Alubring to add Branded Fusion to go for the Lubellion. Despian Tragedy is going to trigger. We will actually DD Crow. I forget that DD Crow does not negate, and also Despian Tragedy triggers when it's banished anyway, so... Just kidding. I banished the Fallen of Albaz because I thought they could not utilize it, but apparently Lubellion is just too good. It can get things from the banish. So now we have the Mirror Jade out. Mirror Jade's going to send Albion, of course, to allow them to set a card at the end phase, probably a Branded in red. They are on the Frightfur Patchwork version, so they're going to get a Edge Imp Chain. Once again, why are these cards have no color on them? That's very weird. And they're all in on the Allure of Darkness. Okay, here's the Polymerization. They're going to go with the Albaz and the Edge Imp Chain to get a second Lubellion. Now, luckily, that's not going to give them another Fusion Summon, but they will get to set the Branded in red to Fusion Summon on our turn. Okay. Pretty standard plays. Certainly an uphill battle for us, but I think we've got what it takes. All right, we're going to lead with the Tenki. Bait out any hand traps. No hand traps, so we're going to go Fractale. So Fractale, of course, goes Fractale, send Kit, send Nerval. Nerval will add to hand. Our opponent's actually going to go Mercurier here. Okay, so they're going to negate our Nerval, but we have the Crossout Designator, and we play a singular Mercurier as well, so we can at least get through that stopgap. And Mercurier will actually trigger when it's banished, I believe. There's a Karos. Yes, Mercurier will trigger when it's banished, but it has been fully negated, so it doesn't matter. We'll normal the Kit. Kit will go ahead and banish for... Let's get the Shiraig out. Shiraig will go and banish. And they're going to chain the Branded in red. So they're going to go for the Tragedy. Bring that back to hand. And then immediately Fusion Summoning using the Mirror Jade as well. Okay, so that's not going to trigger the Mirror Jade. They're going to go for the Guardian Chimera. Now, we have the Droplet here to prevent the pop as well as the draw, but we also can just hit it with the Shrag as we did. Now, they will trigger the Ad Libitum, bringing back the Mirror Jade. We do have to contest with the Mirror Jade now, because when it's sent by an opponent's card effect, it will wipe our field at the end of turn. Let's go for Karos. They're going to go for Mirror Jade, sending Albion, but I can Chain Droplet, sending the Tanky. We're going to negate the Mirror Jade, allow us to jump over it during the battle phase with the Tri-Brigade Shrag. As well as maintaining our Karos to still special summon. Now we can link up and go into a Verte Anaconda, because that's right, branded fusion, baby. Let's go. Let's send that to the grave, and then using that and, of course, the Fallen of Albaz, we can go into our own Mirror Jade. We will duplicate their play, send Albion, banishing the Lubellion, and since we negated the Mirror Jade, we will actually avoid them wiping our field and then get in for a healthy amount of damage. Our Albion with trigger, and we're actually going to set Branded Sword. Now, Branded Sword is a new card from the Newborn Dragon set, and it allows us to summon just a bunch of beaters. Just a great way to kind of finish off, especially since we're sending so many things to the grave with this deck. Our opponent also triggered their Albion and set a Branded in red. Probably a better set than Branded Sword, but we don't play Branded in red. They have the Alluber, so they're going to go for Alluber, adding the Branded Fusion. They're going to send everything and negate a bunch of our dudes. They'll go Branded Sword, banishing 4 Ice Blade tokens. Now, in battle phase, I'm going to activate my own Branded Sword, because we would be indeed dead if we did not. They're going to step over our Shrag. I'm going to get to add a Tri-Brigade kit. They're going to step over our Mirror Jade, which will trigger, so we're going to wipe them in the end phase, and then they're going to trade with our Ice Blade token and put us down to 15. Now, we still have ways to get out of this. Apparently, they've forgotten about Mirror Jade's delayed effect. They're going to go into Brigrand, but everything is going to get wiped because of MJ the Ice Daddy. Now, Harpy's Feather Duster is not a good draw, clearly, but we can still banish the Branded Sword. They're going to do the same. They liked our play, so they're going to copy us. Now, hopefully, we're going to resolve this. They're going to add back the Fallen of Albaz, which is certainly a great play, especially since they're going to react to whatever we do. We're going to add back the Mercurier. It was our only target. We will go for the Kit. Now, I'm going to go for Kit into Almirage. Now, Kit into Almirage is going to... That's like kind of the one card combo if you don't have anything else, right? That will send Kit. Kit will trigger. Now, I ruthlessly fuck up here. And I send Fractal, the only Tri-Brigade that does not trigger when sent to the grave. In the heat of battle and the ticking down timer, I made a horrible mistake. So our opponent is actually going to take the win because we can't do anything else, and since they just have the normal summon, they can attack over us. What I should have done was go for a Nerval. Nerval add Karos. Karos discard the Mercurier, special summon, and then I could go into Farragut or Bearbrum. Unfortunate, but excellent game. Excellent back and forth between Branded brothers over here. All right, back on the play. Love to see it, and we have a freaking amazing hand. Let's go for Fractal. Our opponent's going to max C. I don't think I want that to happen. I think I feel comfortable ashing here. I don't really want them to draw like 2 or 3. Even though we're not going to fully combo off this turn, I'd rather negate that with the ash. We've seen this play. We'll send Kit, send Nerval. Nerval will trigger. We'll get the Karos. Now we'll fire the Tenki, since theoretically they don't have an Ash. We'll add the Fractal. We'll go Fractal, normal summon, and then activate for 2 to get the Bearbrum. Bearbrum will allow us to go into Farragut. Bearbrum going to the grave will add us the Revolt, sending back the DD Crow. With Farragut, we can special summon the Karos again, set the Revolt, go into a Rugal for the end of turn. Farragut will trigger. We don't need the Albion. We can put that back. We are hoping to send that off of Branded Fusion. So let's keep that in the deck. One of the few bricks in the deck. Okay, so Kaiju, that's cool, but I'll max C in case they have another Kaiju. They're going to go Owner Seal, and then normal summon Graydle Eagle. I love Yu-Gi-Oh! Okay, well, in the end phase, I will fire the Revolt. We're not dead by any means. Let's get back the whole team. Here's Shiraig. And with the Shiraig trigger, I'm actually going to elect to banish the set card just so that they don't have a chance to trigger it. We're also going to trigger, of course, our other Tri-Brigades that went to the grave. Going to bring that Kaiju down as well as add a Kairos to hand. Boom, it was a scapegoat. Okay, that's actually huge because that'd be a lot of grinding for us to try and get through. We can just normal summon Kairos, and then Kairos trigger and go for 2 again and get ourselves another Farragut. Now, since Farragut was summoned, Shiraig will trigger. We can banish the Graydle. We don't need them stealing our stuff anytime soon. And then we can go into Verte Anaconda. Trigger Farragut. We don't need that branded fusion. We're good for now. Verte Anaconda can just send it, and we can go into a Libellion. We'll trade with Shiraig. It'll at least recycle a Tri-Brigade from deck to hand, and then we can get in for a comfortable 3. Now, I will admit, I did leave myself in a bit of a predicament with that Verte Anaconda out with only 1,500 life. Our opponent goes for the Raigeki. Okay, unfortunately, it looks like that's probably like an Ash or maybe a Maxi that they need to set. But we now have plays from here. So we can go Kairos, discard the DD Crow to special summon. I'm thinking I might have to normal summon the Ash just for link material, but we can activate the effect and go actually into the Hresvalgar, the Desperate Doom Eagle. Now, Doom Eagle is great because you can obviously return things from the grave that might want to activate, but also it's a link 3, so we can just go into Access Code Talker, which will boost up to a 53, and with banishing the Anaconda, we can actually another freaking Graydle. We can get that Graydle out of here and then attack in for a clean lethal. And that's the deck. Tri-Brigade is an incredibly versatile archetype because you can splash it with a bunch of different engines. Obviously, we've seen it with the Lyricalist sort of stuff. We are now doing it with Branded. There's a few other ways that you can build Tri-Brigade with like Zodiac as well, but its lines are very linear. Shiraig is an incredibly powerful card, and obviously splashing things like the Branded Fusion engine is insane. Like, Branded, new top tier threat, either engine or full deck. This was super fun. Definitely can be tweaked a little bit, but in terms of competency, it's right there. It can definitely hang with the big boys, and it's kind of cool to see Tri-Brigade back in the spotlight now that we've been oppressed by things like Flu and Eldritch for, you know, twice as long. So that's Branded Tri-Brigade. Jules out.